game is an amateur game. I mean, the professional side of it, there are idols and heroes and fun to watch them play. But I mean, if it wasn't for amateur golf, there would be no golf.
On a nice day, it's very scoreable, and you go play it on a 15, 20 mile an hour day, and you're hanging on to your pants. And I think I love that about that style of golf, link style of golf.
You have to remember, when you play a golf course and you're out there for 4 hours or whatever, you're only hitting a ball for 15 minutes of that. So there's a lot of time to look around.
So it's great to have Josh Simpson with us, aka the Ginger Golfer on TikTok and Instagram. So Josh, you've got a very exciting year. What is 2025 for you?
So yeah, I'm gonna try and break the world record in a couple of weeks' time for the most amount of golf courses played in a single year. So it's an exciting year for sure. It's something that I've been thinking about for quite a long time. I've been mulling over the course of a year, and it's kind of all coming together now, which is kind of exciting and very scary at the same time. And yeah, we'll see if we can try and break a world record for the most played in 365-day period.
Very good. So when is the official start date? When are you kicking off?
So we're looking at the moment towards the end of Jan. It's
Okay.
it's a bit tough at the moment because a lot of courses are shut at the moment in England due to the weather and the frost and snow and whatnot. So it's I don't really want to put that's kind of going to be the job this week, is to really collate all the information and to really try and find out where the starting route is going to be. I think heading south early on is going to be the best case scenario, and I think that makes a lot of sense, to try and get up north, especially to Scotland and places like that. When the weather is a little bit more kind to me. I'm going to be
Over
looking
the
to
spring
start.
and summer months.
Yeah, I think so. I'm probably going to start at the course that I'm a country member at, which is Woodall Spa. So
Very
that's over
nice.
in Lincolnshire, and then from there head, I think, towards Nottingham Way, and then kind of down south. It may be at kind of a slight angle, maybe through kind of Peterborough, Northamptonshire, and maybe towards Essex, and then hopefully down to London. That's the plan at the moment. That's what I think makes the most sense.
Well, you'll definitely hit some of these high concentrated areas, and you'll be able to hopefully knock a few off, especially with longer days. You might even get as many. So let's add some context to this, some meat to the bone, so to speak. What is the actual record? So golf courses in a 365-day period.
So a gentleman called Patrick over in America broke the record last year, and he broke 580. So it works out to about 1.59 a day, which is is no kind of no joke. It's a lot of golf, and I think following his journey, there are even courses that he played that didn't even count towards the record. So I think ultimately he played a lot of courses that didn't qualify.
And so that is 18 holes and more than
hmm
6,000 yards. That's
Yeah.
to meet the minimum requirements.
Yeah, so I think that proves a bit more of a challenge in England, because I think in the States, the two records that have been broken have both been in that part of the world. I think in England it's a bit more difficult because golf courses probably tend to be a bit shorter, and so I've
hmm
had a kind of a lot of clubs reach out, and a lot of people who have kind of reached out from golf courses, which is absolutely fantastic. But some of them are under that kind of 6,000 threshold, which is painful. I mean, there's a couple that I think there's one I've had that's 2 yards short, 5,998 yards, and it's like, you sure I just can't get in the trees, a couple of
Yeah,
yards
yeah.
back
They
at
could
a
add
hole or
the
something and tee
Josh
off in
tee
there? But no,
2 yards
no, it
off the back.
doesn't. I don't think Guinness would be too happy with that. So I will try and follow the rules.
Very good. So Patrick broke it last year, or set the new record previous to that. It's been held, or yeah, it's been held by two individuals. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah,
Officially.
yeah. There's a kind of a couple, Jonathan and Jackie Weaver, I think they were Canadian, and I think they broke the record in America, which was probably I think it was about 300 and something, and then Patrick kind of blew it out of the water and decided to smash it with 580.
To go
So
large.
Yeah, so it's certainly no easy feat, but I want to do it all for charity. I lost my mum last year after a really short battle with lung cancer, and so I want to try and do this in her memory, and I'm raising as much money as I can for a couple of charities that are close to my heart.
So let's talk a little bit more about that. So obviously, it's a ambitious project, but having just lost your mom, it means a lot more to you than just playing a lot of golf.
Mm.
So we understand the background now. Thank you for sharing that with us. Not easy, obviously. But can you tell us about the charities that you'll be supporting, how that works, and how people can support you and by extension them?
Yeah, so I've got two charities. One of them is more of a national charity that will have probably been quite well heard of, which is Macmillan.
Hmm.
They provide kind of a lot of care in the scenario that I went through last year, and I think everybody lives with this kind of air of complacency in their life that no one realizes that something like that would happen to them or a close family member. And I think it's very important for a charity like that to exist because your world can be turned upside down so quickly. Within the space of 2 months, we'd gone from everything being completely normal to mum not being here anymore, and I think the people at Macmillan are absolutely fantastic because they add a little bit of help in a situation like that, which is, it's certainly needed. The other charity as well is a local one to me. It's a local hospice called Tapping House. They provide a great amount of kind of end of life care, which is local for me, and it has a big meaning to me because Mum did a lot of charity work for them as well. Mum was incredible. Balancing uh, jobs at home and a full time job, and then on top of that, she did charity work for a lot of charity work for Tapping House. And so, in my head, I want to really try and honour her and try and raise as much money as I can for two causes that are really fantastic. I have got a website, which is where the donation link is. It's kind of embedded on a website at gingergolf.co.uk. So you can use that website to kind of follow the journey, to kind of track where I am, to
Hmm.
donate, to offer to help. There's loads of different ways that you can get involved.
Very good. Oh, it's nice to hear because obviously, when I think that was one thing that stood out to me, especially when we discussed things previously and we had a chance to play together as well, and just hearing the respect that you have for your mother, obviously very close and loved her very dearly, but it sounded to me like an amazing woman who not
Mm,
only took good care of you and your father as a mum and a wife, but also was involved to a large extent in volunteering herself. So it's a beautiful way that you can try and give back, and I'm sure there'll be
mm,
many people that want to support you in that. So obviously that's the charitable side of things. There's also the practical side of things when we think about making this possible. So 585, you're probably going to want to aim a little bit higher than that, not just 586. So weather being the way it is, we've found out that this month, with what the UK is going through in early January, things can be unpredictable. I
mhm.
imagine with your vehicle, there probably will be flat tires and breakdowns and all sorts of things. So how can people, if they want to get involved, support you along the way, support these charities, support the cause, be a part of something bigger than themselves? So you mentioned your website, gingergolf.co.uk. And if people head to that site, there's the live map so they can see where you're at. There'll no doubt be updates coming quite often. And there'll be the information there, hyperlinks in order to give to the two charities we've mentioned. But in a practical way, with regards to yourself and your journey, you're going to need a bit of help. So, how can people help?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of different kind of aspects that I'll probably need support with. I think motivation is probably going to be a key one. I'm quite an independent person. I'm an only child, so I think that's going to help. living in a van for a year by myself. But it's still going to be lonely out there. There's going to be kind of remote parts where I'm not really able to move so much, and so I'm kind of going to rely on a lot of close friends and family to really kind of support and get that motivation going. I'm looking for people along the way to play with as well. That's going to be quite important. I think it's important to note that I need to limit it to probably, especially in the early months, probably one playing partner per course. But that's also the criteria for the world record, is that I need to play someone as well, play with someone. So I think that's important, really, just to keep it keep a bit of variety in there. And I think it's great. I think it just shows the golf community is so fantastic, and I want to meet kind of as many different people from as many different walks of life. I've been incredibly fortunate on my journey to play the top 100 in England. We're nearly there now, and the reception for that and people are just absolutely phenomenal. And I've had some absolutely incredible experiences, and I hope that that continues. Getting to meet some people from different walks of life at different parts of the country and at different golf courses. Um, there's obviously logistically there's other challenges. Patrick bought a brand new RV, and he had no end of problems with his. So um, I'm trying not to think about it too much at the moment, but it's certainly something that can happen. But the only thing that you can do is just be dynamic with it. You have to have a kind of a clear head, and you have to approach things with a mentality of, right, okay, I can't let this affect me emotionally. I need to work out how I'm going to get through it. And when something like that comes up, I think I've got the mentality to be able to get over that. So yeah, I think that will be difficult. Little things like eating, that could prove challenges. Especially in the winter months when the clubhouses might not be open when I get back.
Hmm.
Um, there's things like that. There's I think kind of cleanliness, keeping myself clean. And after a day of playing 36 holes, I'll probably want to jump in a shower. And I know the motorhome has one, but you do have to be very careful with kind of that, and emptying the cassettes. And you have to get on a bit of a schedule of how often you're going to need to go to a campsite to empty them, or to charge up, and things like that. So there's so much that people just don't think. And I think a lot of people will easily turn around and say, well, Josh, you're living the dream. You're doing what we want to. And I think part of that is true, but the reality of it is that there's a lot more than just kind of playing golf.
Well, I was going to say that it sounds like you're going into this with your eyes wide open. I know that you've spoken with Patrick, and as well the individuals that held it previously to him. You've tried to learn as much as you can. Obviously, there's
Mm,
people who think, "Well, I really enjoyed that trip I took for 3 weeks, where we got 18 rounds in 21 days or something like that," and I think, "Oh, imagine doing that
mm,
for a year." But you're probably not at a resort, with Egyptian cotton linens and AC with breakfast buffets and the like. So if there are individuals out there that can help, they can jump on your website. They can offer to play around with you. There is also the option to um, make it available as like a member guest, or maybe even some golf clubs out there will be willing to allow you to play, and they'll cover the green fee. Obviously, do their little bit for charity and the world record attempt. And of course, logistically, it's amazing. But I think you'll see that the golfing fraternity at large that you've mentioned hopefully will stand up, and maybe even you'll get a place to park the motorhome on a drive, or
mm.
have someone's access to someone's kitchen or shower, something like that. So any of those things that you think you could do, feel free to reach out to Josh. You can get him on TikTok or Instagram. That's the best way, perhaps, or through the website. And I think the email's on there as well. Um,
Yeah,
and anything at all, I'm sure you'd be willing to hear from them with regards to. And
yeah.
yeah, maybe if you could try and get like an AA or an RAC full sponsorship, that would be a bit of a perk too. I'm
That
sure
would
you
be a
won't
bit
have
of,
any.
yeah, peace of mind. Yeah.
So when you set out now, are you thinking, especially during the winter months, you might get like one or like one a day during the winter and try and do two or three during the summer, or how are you trying to pace yourself as you start to get things set up now?
I've certainly in my head got an idea that I want to try and get as many as I can. The issue is the weather at the moment in England, and especially when I'm now looking at getting the start date fixed in, and I'm looking outside and seeing the courses are closed. That kind of provides a bit of a challenge. I think I'm just going to try and go for 36 a day at these courses. With daylight, it is still possible if if pace of play is prioritized and you're not kind of messing about. I mean, even as a two ball, you can get around in 3 hours, and with days
Absolutely.
where there's 8 hours of daylight, it's not so much of a problem. But I think there are going to be courses that are closed. There are going to be weathers that are just, I'm not going to be able to play in. I know Patrick had a few issues last year with exactly that, and we had a course manager come up to him and say, "Look, what are you doing?" And he's the only person on the course and putting through puddles and whatnot. So I'm sure there are going to be challenges like that. But I think I'd like to try and focus maybe 1.5 a day to start with, to get a good base up. And then obviously through the summer months, when as soon as the spring hits, I can then, quite easily look at the 36 in a day and chill out a little bit more and enjoy it.
So just a couple of questions with that 36. Does it have to be 581 different golf courses over 6,000 yards and playing with a partner? Or could it be the same golf course played like twice in a day, 36 in a day, for example?
I think it would be a much easier record if I was allowed to play the same golf course every day. Now, it is completely different. So 36 or 54 hole venues in the UK are really going to be the kind of gold dust, and they're a great way to tick kind of two birds off with one stone. But
Hmm.
looking and doing the research, there's not as many courses as you'd think that both have two qualifying courses.
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, Celtic Manor, that might be one, but that's a bit of a drive. Um, Belfry, I think might have three, but I don't know if they
Belfry has
qualify
three.
with being over
I think
6,000.
two of them would qualify, I think. I think you've got
Two,
you've got like Frilford Heath and Woburn, which are both 54 holes.
yeah.
You've probably got like Glen Eagles, Celtic Manor, St
Glen Eagles would have,
Andrews.
yeah. St Andrews,
But
yeah, St Andrews will be a good one for you because there'll be the multiple courses.
there's a
I was
lot
thinking
of
even
different
like
ones
a
there.
a Wisley type scenario where you've got three nines, but they play them as like three combinations.
Yeah.
So 27
So
holes, but
Wisley, yeah, it's annoying because they'll only allow you to play 18 different holes. So even at a place like the Wisley, I'll only be able to play 18. But there's plenty of courses. I mean, that kind of Surrey hotspot. You look at, you've
Wentworth,
got
you'll have
places like
three at Wentworth.
Sunningdale and Wentworth and Berkshire, and there's a
Yep,
lot of different courses down there, all in such a kind of condensed area. You go down to Sandwich. I mean, it's quite a remote area, but there's still quite a dense population down there as well.
that's yet the tram for it. You got Prince's Deal Sandwich ride not too far away.
Mm.
North Foreland short course. I know you won't be looking at that one just because it won't stack up, but that is one that's a particular favorite. Pretty amazing set of greens there, all on a couple of acres. So that's one to if you're not too knackered by the time you get done some of the other courses, you can tack the one on even though it won't count.
That's something that I'm kind of finding difficult to adapt to. Really, is I think part of the reason to be doing this is because there's so many great golf courses in the UK, and I'm passionate about golf. I love going to different golf courses, and I want to play as many as I can. And with a record like this, I have a feeling that there's probably going to be a lot of really, really cool golf courses that just miss out on the mark by, it could even be a couple of yards. I think Scotland could have an incredible amount of little gems that are just, that I won't be able to play, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Outer Hebrides, yeah, Outer Hebrides probably is not the place to go because a lot of those courses wouldn't qualify. But you're absolutely right. I know I spent a couple of years ago. I spent 6 weeks all along the west coast in the Inner and Outer Hebrides, kind of island hopping using ferries and spectacular golf. Some of the golf courses weren't even golf courses; they were literally like 18 holes in the ground, and you kind of made your way around. But I think
Mm.
you're absolutely right. But I think what I'm looking forward to, especially, is not just seeing how you progress, how everybody gets behind it, the momentum that you get, and hopefully we can help you with that. But also, as you mentioned, there's thousands of golf courses just in England, And most of us are really familiar with, probably, if you're a proper golf geek, the top 100 to 200, maybe even 300.
Mm.
And then after that, it just falls off. But there's constantly hidden gems. And I hate that
Mm.
expression. But
Mm.
even this year, I went up to Grantham, of all places,
Okay.
with an individual. It was actually a neighbor who'd become very friendly with, and his father, who he sadly lost, was the steward of the club and was a prominent member. And on the anniversary of his father's death, he doesn't drive. He asked me, he's a bit elderly now, he's got some health issues, but he asked me if I would bring him up there to play his home course with him
Mm.
at this grant. And to be quite honest with you, it was really good. It's a shame I can't remember the name of the golf course, or else we'd give it a shout out. We'll put it in the show notes. I'll try and
Would
figure out
it
which one it was.
potential? I'm just trying to think because it's quite close to me, Grantham. Is it maybe? Was it Belton Park, Belton Woods?
I think that is the one, actually.
One there's two.
And
There's Belton Woods has, I think, 36 holes, and then
okay,
Belton
so
Park is
it
just
would have been
18.
Belton Park, and it was an amazing. They had like this. They got like a stately home at the end of the field. There's like a big monument in the middle of the golf course. It was a cracking little golf course, and you
Mm.
could happily be a member there. It won't be in many of the rankings. It might just sneak
Mm.
in one of the county rankings. It's not a course that I would necessarily go out of my way to play. Hence, I'd never been there before. But again, really enjoyed it, to the point where I would go back happily again
Mm.
this year to see it again. So I think I'm excited to see. I think you're going to find some of these courses that might even become like the next big thing for people to go and check out, because they're
Mm.
out there. They just need someone to find them and shout about them. So it's going to be great to be able to
Yeah.
follow your journey, see how you get on, and we're hoping that through the course of this, over the next 12 months or so, we can track the progress, support you along the way. We can get a bit of momentum for you. Maybe we can get open some doors with our listenership, with our followers. It would be great to see if they could reach out and get in touch and see if they can support you. And remember that it's not just Josh, but you're doing this for something far bigger than Josh. We've got two charities. We've got a massive cost that many thousands benefit from, and by extension, probably millions throughout the UK during the course of one's life. So, really, really good way to support charity, especially if you're a golfer. It should be right up their street. And if you can do something specifically for Josh, then we'd encourage you to hit the website or reach out and DM on the social media. So, thanks so much, Josh. We look forward to speaking to you again soon.
I'll see you on the road.